Hello, friends, and welcome to another video lesson from DBOS Talks. If you haven't subscribed yet, please click subscribe and click the bell so that you can be notified of new uploads. This video is in the playlist called Linux Tutorial, and here we'll be learning about the Linux more command, which is also in uppercase. So let's just get to know a little bit more about the more command. Okay, I'll just paste them here one by one. All right, give me a second, give me a second. Okay. So the more command, more, displays file contents page by page. You will see it later on. It prevents long output from flooding the terminal, and it's useful for reading logs, log files, configuration files, or command results. Okay, that's what a more command does, or what it can do to help you. Okay, so the syntax for more is like this, more, followed by the file name. But that's the basic syntax. I will show you in a second example that you can also use the more on something which is not a file name, but rather an output. Okay, so remember that the more command is used for viewing only, not for editing text files, but simply for viewing. Okay, so with the syntax, you now know how to use the more command. Let me just clear this and I will type more, and then you have a file name of a text file that you want to take a look at. Okay, so before that, let me just show you the basic navigation keys. Okay, give me a second. All right. Enter. So these are the most commonly used navigation keys of the more command. Once you execute the more command on a file name or on an output, these are the commands you will do to be able to get around, okay, to navigate. So if you press on enter or you hit the enter key, it will allow you to move on to the next line of a file or of an output. If you press the space bar, then it allows you to go to the next page. It's like a page down. And if you press the lowercase q, then it will do a quit, which means you will exit the page, I mean the file that you are viewing. Okay, so those are the navigation keys of the more command. Okay, let's just say we have a file called like this. Okay, so remember, you can just think of those three commands: the enter for the next line, space bar for the next page, and then the q for the quit. Okay, very simple. Only a few commands. There could be a few more, but these are the most commonly used. Because remember, the more command is only used for viewing text files, not really for editing. If you were to edit a file, then for sure, obviously, there will be a lot more commands to be used, such as delete, copy, paste, there's a lot of things to be done once you're editing, but here we're just viewing. Okay, so more. Now we see a file, okay, just when you issue the more command and then enter, then it will open the file, but you can only view it one page at a time, unlike the cat command, cat, which we have covered in a previous video. So if you remember, to move on to the next line, you will just hit the enter key, okay, and then at the bottom you can see the percentage, approximate percentage of the file that is already being displayed to you. Okay, so again, next line, enter. If you want to go to the next page, like a page down, you will hit the space bar. Okay, so this happens to be a short file. So with just one stroke or one hit of the spacebar, it effectively allowed me to completely view or finish viewing the whole file because it's a short file. Okay, so but worry not, because I have a second example wherein we can have the chance to scroll more. I mean, do more of the page down thing. Okay, so the first example you've seen is doing using the more on a file. Okay, this was the syntax more and then followed by the file name. Okay, so let's do something else. You can also use the more command not just on a file name but on the output of another command. We have covered that in a previous video, which was about piping or pipeline in Linux. Okay, you can look for that in my channel and in my playlist, this Linux tutorial series. Okay, so let's look at a way to use more, which is not targeted specifically on a file. So we have this mess. Okay, we'll issue this file, the message, and then if you remember the previous command, I mean, video I've created, you can use pipeline or piping. So the pipe or the vertical bar, you don't really, it's not mandatory to have a space between this and the vertical bar, but just for readability, it's up to you. You can add it there. So this is my command. Again, it's using the piping or pipeline or the technique of using a pipe. Okay, so the first command is a D message, which is a Linux command. And with this setup over here, with this pipeline or piping, the output of the first command becomes the input of the next command. That's what happens. So if you will look at the more command here, it is not followed by a file name. That is because it's taking its input not from a file name, but from the output of the previous command. Okay, so let's just enter this. All right, so it is doing a more on the output of the dmessage command. Okay, if you remember the three commands we have covered, the navigation keys, you can go line by hitting the enter key. Okay, and then if you want to move on to the next page, like a page down, then you will hit the space bar. Okay, so that's a space bar. And again, at the same time, at the bottom, although there's this pencil icon over here, it will actually, in the normal view, you will see the percentage of the file that has been displayed to you so far. So, so far we have used the enter key to move from line to line, move to the next line, and hit the space bar to do a page down. Okay, now if you wanna quit or exit this file, then you will just type the lowercase q. Okay, and it quits and exits the file. Okay, so we have seen the more command, and there is another command after this in the next video, which is related to the more and has more capability than the more command. Why is the more command like this? Because it's an old command from the time of Linux, I mean Unix, those days. Okay, and remember that in the old days there was no mouse, so a lot of the navigation are taken care of, or I mean there was a lot of dependency on the keyboard. Okay, and function keys. Okay, thank you for watching and listening. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and click the bell, and I'll be seeing you in the next video.